Tonight we are chatting with AprilB. AprilB, hello.
Hi. How's it
Hi.
going?
It's good. It's good. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you.
Some would call you one of the OG brick builders on Twitch. Uh, I definitely, after having spoken to several people on this show and actually off this show, they've all said that. They're like, April is one of the original Lego streamers. Even on Amish Ace's episode, he's like, dude, April was around, Jang says the godmother of brick building on Twitch, damn
Mm.
straight. So I couldn't think of any better guest to get on here than April B. I don't know. I'm not trying to build up all this pressure, but I'm seeing the look on your face, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
walk it back a little bit.
No, I totally get it. It's so weird to me to think about myself in that way. But I mean, it's true. Like I've been around for a long time in the community. Like it's surprising actually how long it's been and just how small the community was when I came into it, and now it's like crazy. Everybody's here.
For those of you that don't know the godmother of brick building on Twitch, how would you explain that, or rather, how would you describe what April B's channel and community are about to someone that's unaware?
Whoa.
Well,
so I'm April. It's simple. Like I do Lego stuff for the last almost 3 years on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, we just hang out. It's chill. We try to just have a really cool, inviting environment for everybody. That's, everybody's welcome. Just we talk about mental health stuff a lot because that's something that's really like near and dear to my heart. And yeah, just try to have a really like positive vibe group.
That's actually as someone who's been in your stream long enough, that fits. While we were prepping for this, I was like, we'll try not to go on too many tangents, and then I stopped myself and we both had a good laugh, because I think that's admittedly a hallmark on my channel, but I know also on yours. That's why we both had that laugh about it.
Yeah.
3 years. 3 years on Twitch. What, I guess my question is, what came first? Was it the Lego or the Twitch?
It was definitely the Twitch. So before I was sort of engrossed in the Lego side of things, like I was still in AFL and I was doing Lego stuff on the side, but I didn't really know, besides the YouTube realm of content creation, that was a thing on Twitch. But I did gaming content creation on YouTube, and kind of went through that phase and had kind of fallen away from it after a while. And my husband at the time said he wanted to start doing Lego ASMR, which was like a weird like niche that nobody was really hitting at the time. Yeah. And he was like, so where do you think that I should do that? And I said, well, that kind of sounds like a Twitch thing. I mean, whatever. So, so he kind of started there, and I moderated for him, and he only ended up being a creator on there for a few months. But like during that time, we ended up running into the other people in the Lego community at the time, which was a very, very small, tight-knit group. There were only probably 5 people streaming at that point, Lego.
Right.
And a very, very small viewer base. But we all kind of got involved in that group, and a lot of people asked me why I didn't stream, because even like when I did gaming stuff, I wasn't into streaming because I suffer from a lot of anxiety, and like we talked about beforehand, like that whole like pre-stream jitter thing like
Mm-hmm.
was just too much for me to cope with. So I was like, I don't think I can get over that hump of dealing with people in a live setting and sort of not having control over what's going to happen, what's going to be like that next thing. But I got talked into it.
You got roped in.
It was the thing. I got roped into it, and
Yeah.
within a couple months, and it was just great. And the Lego community is so amazing and loving, and it's just such a family, really, that it's hard to like keep those feelings of nervousness really about things, because it's just such a great positive environment.
Definitely. I wholeheartedly agree with you. When you first got onto Twitch, you're saying there was maybe 5 people doing brick building. Do you remember the ones that you actually were like watching and hanging out with?
So I mean, the first person that we got introduced to was Brick and Nick, obviously. He actually rated in, and like we ended up meeting pretty much everybody through that. Um, and then we had like Set to Build and Dan from Between the Bricks and MLG Pro Lawyer, who doesn't stream anymore. And then there were a couple people, also sort of in the Australia, New Zealand region that also streamed at the time. And I ended up becoming a mod for Between the Bricks. And that's really where I started like getting my claws in with things, and like people starting to like be like, no, you really need to stream. And Dan obviously has a very mental health centric environment on his stream as well, and being able to have more candid conversations about that and like the mental hangups of starting to stream kind of helped me get over that hump to be able to do it.
Did it take a lot of, I guess, convincing or encouraging, or was it kind of one of those things where you were kind of ready and you needed that nudge, or it was one of those things that they kind of wore you down over time?
I feel like I really just needed the nudge in the right direction, because I have a serious passion for content creation, and like stopping the gaming stuff was something that really was difficult for me to make the decision to do, because I still wanted to do content creation. So, it was definitely, it just took some of the right people saying the right things to like be like, you really need to get back into this, get back on the horse. It's going to be okay. Like, we'll be there. You've got this. And, it's true, and it's been great ever since.
Dan says the good old days back then. So you kind of did gaming. You were kind of doing a little Lego, but then you decided to kind of start streaming Lego. You got the encouragement from some of the people that were already doing their thing. And then 3 years later you're here, right? And
I know.
you're like, what happened to all that time? What
Sure.
What aspects of, I think, what aspects of your content and your content creation have changed in that time, in those 3 years?
Really, I feel like, besides sort of the obvious, evolution of growing, like your graphics and notification and all that stuff, that you do as time goes on, like, you start off with like the bare bones, whatever. I feel like back then it was so much harder for me to just have a conversation with people and be open and real, and not be as worried about judgment,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to now when, I've had some really deep, serious mental health conversations and just life conversations, and, being able to be that open with people.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so like weird but also amazing about this community is like every time we have those really deep, serious conversations on my streams, like literally all I get afterwards is DMs and whispers and whatever that is just pure love and support. And it's the most amazing thing to just feel like you have this group of people that, like, even if you're just having a bad day and you want to talk about it and be open, like they're all there with that like digital hug that, we're here too and we get it.
That's
So, being able to be open with people is really just crazy.
yeah,
Cannot be
yeah.
words.
Actually, I've really found that the connections on Twitch with the Lego community has been so uh, easy, almost. Like
Mhm.
being on, and maybe you can speak to this too, but being on Twitch for so long, uh, pre Lego community, like I never really found that, like, I clicked with a lot of people that I talked to on Twitch, right? I made friends with other people in different communities and other streamers, but there is something about this community where it happens really easily and it happens really quickly, and then before you know it, you're kind of, you're checking in on other streamers, you're asking them what they're up to this weekend or what their families are doing, and or if they're having, you know a big job interview coming up, you ask what's, how that's going, and it feels like that connection is just 20 times easier than I would ever expect in any other place on Twitch. um
Mm.
what do you think makes that so easy, or what do you think makes that different, the brick building community versus the rest of Twitch?
Mm. Honestly, I have never been able to put my finger on it because it's so true. Like it's such, I'm always, anybody who's been around in my stream know, like I'm constantly like Twitch fam's the best fam, but it's not even just Twitch. It's just like the Lego fam is the best fam because I've been in multiple online communities and different like aspects of everything, and there's so much toxicity and drama and just like whatever. And obviously in every group and even in the Lego group to some degree, like there's going to be drama between people and whatever, that just happens when you have humans. But you know it's just, I don't know, I have not been able to put my finger on what it is about some little plastic bricks that are supposedly for children that now like it's okay as an adult to like sit around and build, like is that thing that we can all bond and just be happy and nice to each other over.
Yeah, yeah. And I I don't know what kind of answer I was looking for there, to be honest, because I've I felt the same way. I'm not I haven't been I haven't been a part of this community as long, and uh that's part of why I ask that, is because I was like, well, maybe I just don't know because I
Yeah.
haven't been here that long. But yeah, there's just something almost intangible. I would think, that
Mhm.
there's something about this love for Lego, I think, that we all have that kind of sparks that initial interest, but then you start to connect with all these other people who are hanging out in these chats and streams,
Mhm.
and then you become friends with a lot of these people. There's so many jokes and memes and things like that just begin to continue to snowball throughout the community. um
Mhm.
yeah, I guess my next question, or I'd like to get your thought on, is um since the community has formed years ago, with those early creators up until now. And I know you've anticipated this question because a lot of people have brought it up, right?
Yeah.
With that growth, especially I would say since the pandemic, right?
Mhm.
Uh, you've have noticed, and I think we all have, that there has been an explosion, I would say,
Mm.
of new streamers and communities popping into the Lego space here on Twitch. Uh,
Mm.
you know, every day I find someone new, or every couple days I see a whole new stream pop up, whether it's someone who's completely new to Twitch or someone who's been on Twitch forever and they've started streaming Lego as part of their content. What are your thoughts on kind of all these new people showing up?
I mean, it's kind of incredible. You know, like it has very much in the last like year and a half especially um just blown up into something that is really cool to see the growth of, because if you go back just creator to creator, like when there's a very small community, sometimes there's a lot of like tall mountains to climb when you're like, okay, well, this is kind of like what our viewership is. And it's so hard to break out of that to some degree because Twitch has so many discoverability issues. It's not even funny. So even just be like, I do Lego on Twitch. You can't just go in and be like twitch.tv, search bar Lego, and get what you want to find unless it's in like their stream title or whatever. So even to just like find people in that way was difficult. Obviously there are a lot of people who have been instrumental in a lot of that growth. Rex O'Brien being one of those people, which I know you sat down with a couple weeks ago, him bringing in me and Dan and, Nick and some other people through the quarantine cast on Beyond the Brick. And then like those YouTube people starting to realize, oh, there are people over on Twitch. Well, what is Twitch? And then they start coming over and there's Brian. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So and obviously Jang coming over and bringing some people from his YouTube community, and like you said, there's all sorts of people that even Twitch partners that like you would never think would do Lego, like all of a sudden you see them doing Lego and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
But it's so great to see that growth for the community, because when people started coming in, it was like, wow, this is so cool. Like there's more people and there's more friends and all this stuff. But the other aspect of that is like all of these people who are coming in now don't necessarily realize like the struggle that was being in the brick building community 3 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, when there's like this little teeny tiny group of people and we're all just tight knit and we can't grow at all. And now there's like, boom, growth, crazy.
Yeah.
So, honestly, it's so great and everyone's amazing. I cannot, it's with everybody, even outside of like online. All I do is talk up this community. It's like, I can't. I'm just like, you need to get on Twitch and this is what you need to do. You need to put in brick building and the thing and like, come watch some of these people because they're so great.
Yeah. I've done the same thing. I've had coworkers who are like, because, okay, the beginning of pandemic was when I started getting back into Lego myself, when I got out of my dark ages. And it went from like having maybe 2 little Star Wars sets sitting on a shelf. And then like my coworkers were starting to notice increasing amounts of Lego appearing behind me. They're like, what happened? I was like, Lego's amazing and you should be on Twitch watching other people build Lego.
Right?
But yeah, I've hyped up the Twitch Lego community ever since. So I 100% get that. Dan in chat says we were happy with 10 viewers back in the day average.
It's true. It's true. Like, I mean, even that was a little bit much. Like, I mean, when I applied for RLFM status, I think my average was 6.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
Right. And then like you're seeing all these Lego streams now.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we're like getting ready for partner status on some of them, like.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited about that because I know there's a lot of people in the brick building community here that are hitting those sizes. And I've told a few of them, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing that you get to do if you want that, But with that whole thing, having been on Twitch for 3 years and having seen this whole brick building community kind of blow up, if
Mhm.
you could have spoken to April of 3 years ago about, kind of what you're doing getting into this,
Mhm.
what would you say to that April who was kind of figuring this out and trying to decide, or even not just deciding, but kind of getting into brick building as a streamer? What would you have told her?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it's crazy because I feel like I'm a completely different person today than I was 3 years ago, mostly because of Twitch, and, like, I have these, like, heart-to-heart conversations with Chad every once in a while, just, like, you don't understand, like, how much of a positive impact this is gonna have on your life and the friendships and relationships that you're gonna form out of this, and just how much it's gonna build up, my self-confidence and everything else, like, you gotta do this, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's been monumentally great for just me to be part of this community. That's yeah.
That's that's pretty powerful, right? Like I'm processing that.
Right?
When you say it changed, it's changed your life and it's made you a different person. Um, I guess what would how would you describe that without, going as far into it as you're comfortable with, but
Hmm.
how would you describe that change?
I mean, it's been great. Like, I mean, I'm more confident in my outside life in the real world, as I always say on my streams,
Yeah.
like now than I was 3 years ago. Like I was very much, I mean, even just talking about like not wanting to necessarily take the plunge into going into streaming, like that was like everything in my life was surrounded by like that anxiety of just the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you know, 3 years later, it's like, "Oh, a challenge? Cool, let's do it. Like, let's jump in. Let's go do this scary thing. Like, I'm ready for it." I have
Mm-hmm.
that confidence. Like, it's yeah, I'm just completely different, and it's weird. It's very weird to think about, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
To reflect on it.
yeah.
Yeah. I it's it's definitely, how do I put it? With So I love Lego, like, to kind of share a little bit, like, because I find uh the building the set side of the whole thing being very
Mhm.
therapeutic in a way, right? Where you're putting pieces together, and at the end you have something really cool to look at, and maybe you've done some really cool techniques to build the set. I find building Lego really calming and therapeutic. That's why I do it, and that's why my stream is kind of that
Absolutely.
way, right? Is where
Mhm.
we chill out, we put on some nice music. uh i
Mhm.
speak I speak very calmly, not on the
Mhm.
ASMR level per se, but I just, I chill out. And so it's I see some, you know parallel to what you're saying, like, it's made you, you know kind of calm down, but also, like, see more things confidently, as well as being
Mhm.
able to better approach things in your real life. um
Mhm.
we talked a bit before this about anxiety, right? Or, like, getting a little
Mhm.
nervous before a stream.
Mhm.
And, real talk, I get nervous before streams, even to this day. And
Yep.
I've done enough of them where it's probably not a big deal. But and I admit this to you before our stream. I was like, dude, I freak out, man. I get
Yeah.
super scared. And what with that thought in mind, what kind of things do
Mhm.
you do? Because you and I think both feel this way, to kind of get yourself to a better place, or a place where you feel like you can get on camera and stream.
So I told you beforehand that like I have like some breathing exercises I do, and that's just sort of in general. It's not just for streaming. That's just to like deal with my anxiety in general in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helpful. The other thing is just like I'll hit the starting soon, and I try to like not stay on starting soon for a super long time, but I kind of wait until like that first message comes in, whoever it is, and like Cool knows it's usually him that's in the chat right now. Cool's always there, like before stream, even like just, like if I'm testing stuff, he's always there, like, hey, I see you testing stuff.
Yeah.
But just like whatever that first message is, like read it, and then there's almost just like a wave of like relief. Like there's someone there. I don't have to worry about like the awkwardness of going live without, and just like talking to myself and not knowing if someone's going to show up or whatever. So, once that kind of happens, then I just like take a breath and I'm like, I'm ready. I can do this. I can hit the button and we're just going to do it and it's going to be fine. And it is.
Yeah. And yeah, it usually is, right? And you're like, why was I stressing?
Until there's all sorts of technical problems, because that's just being a streamer. And
oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, like when you start streaming, you find that you have to deal with so much tech issues, like so many tech issues, and that unfortunately somehow doesn't go away, even if you think you're good on everything.
No way. No matter what level of pro streamer you think you are, it's nope. You're still gonna have OBS screw you up at some point.
Yeah. OBS always betrays me, even though I love it so much. It's like that loved one that you can't always get along with, but you still love them.
Yep.
You need them in your life.
Yep.
I would say anxiety is a pretty, for me. I don't, as much as I share on my stream, I don't talk about anxiety a whole lot for some reason. I don't know why, but it's really comforting to know that there are others out there who still deal with it to this day, even if they've been, on Twitch for years, or they might be the proclaimed, godmother of brick building on Twitch, like. But I'm glad that you shared that, because that's just, I think that's one of the things a lot of people don't really realize when streamers go live, unless they've streamed themselves, right? Like it's, for a lot of us, there's still that level of like nerves or a bit of anxiety, or I get the whole, oh god, is anyone gonna show up in the first 10 minutes? I hope so.
Yep, exactly.
What would you tell someone who is getting into like content creation and streaming and is trying to figure the whole thing out? What would you tell someone who's trying to kind of get into it? Like, what kind of advice would you impart to them?
I think that I would tell them that if it's something that you're truly passionate about, that you need to just go for it and, stream the things that you want to stream and, be you. Don't, I know there's a lot of people that like put on a big, whatever. Like if you want to put on a big show, do that and be fake or whatever. But if you're just you and you're doing something that you're passionate about, like the people will come and watch you and interact with you and want to have discussions with you about whatever that thing is that you're doing, and it'll be okay.
Good advice. I think that is just a wonderfully pure and simple message that I think you and Fred would agree upon, because Fred has said this very same thing. You actually Fred talked about you. Do you remember that?
I know. I know the Freddy story.
You know the Freddy story. How does that feel to hear these stories about yourself, where you're like, oh yeah, AprilB was like one of the ones that welcomed me? How does that, I mean, I guess, I'm sure you've had these conversations with some of these other streamers, but like, how does that feel to kind of even passively hear that from other creators?
It's so weird, honestly. I'm just like, I didn't do anything. Like Freddy's was like so innocent, just like we were on Sapiens's stream and like I'm a mod for him and he was just like, I need to find somebody that's in brick building to raid because there wasn't really anybody at the time like on our normal lists. And I'm just like looking through brick building at the list and I like
Yeah.
see Panfred Nudo. Like there's someone just doing like he was doing like a microfighter or something. I don't even remember, but you know, something small. And I was like, this guy looks really cool. And I watched his stream for like 5 minutes and I was like, no, like we need to raid this guy. He's amazing. And
Yeah.
like, and it just went from like, okay, did the raid and then we hung out and like, you know, obviously a lot of times when you're on a raid, like you have to raid and run after 3 or 4 hours of whatever. That's just the reality. But
Mm-hmm.
with Freddy, I was like compelled. I have to stay here and like be part of this because it's magical. Like, honestly, it really is like everything that he's doing. And I was just like, no, seriously, you need to do Lego more and you need to like get in with this community because we need you.
That is actually really cool to hear because I don't think I heard that part of the story, like from his side, right? He's one of I would venture to say he is definitely one of the most beloved creators here in the community. And
yeah.
if I mean, I don't know. I think that's cool that you actually said that to him. That you said, "Hey, we need you to be a part of this. We want to see you doing." Because I mean, look at that. Like, I'm sure knowing Fred, that he heard that and he took it to heart and he started doing it more. And look where he is now. Because actually, if it wasn't
like full-time Lego streamer,
I know, right? Like, I mean, because then visualize the chain, right? Because he brought folks like AZ into it more. Mm-hmm. He brought folks like me into it more. It was definitely one of those moments like he even said this verbatim, you know, I'm just trying to do what April did for me, right? He did that for me. And he was a big cheerleader for me to do more Lego. And so
yeah,
I guess I have to like thank you for that, you know, indirectly because you brought me more to this fold through Fred. So thank you.
It's so wonderful having you here too, and everybody. Like seriously, I can't with everybody. It's so like,
that's really cool. And actually, you know, that story is just, in my opinion, one of the cleanest, most beautiful like examples of how one person can really make an impact on other people. I mean, within the context of Twitch and the Lego community, but like as a whole, I think that's really cool. So I had to touch on that. So, you know, with all these wonderful feelings, you know, that we have, I guess I do have a question about like what is the most challenging thing that you've had to deal with as a creator in these years of being both a Twitch streamer and a Lego creator? What's really been tough for you?
Interestingly enough, you know, with all the love fest and stuff, I feel like some of my hardest moments have been since things have blown up, because obviously like you and a lot of the people here have been to my stream and like no, I have more of a chill like environment. I don't have all the like crazy redeems and all the things that, you know, is like kind of the thing right now. And like I'm here for it. Like it's hilarious. I love it. It's just not like I haven't necessarily found that groove in my own stream for those kind of things.
Right.
So I almost feel like there's part of my little section of the brick building community that's like not really left out, but you know, like I feel like I don't fit in some like I'm like that weird puzzle piece that like it's there and you like it goes in there, but like it's not quite right because like I'm not part of all that.
Yeah, it's like when you get that one Technic pin that you know can go in, but it's having an issue, but you know it
Uh-huh.
belongs there, right?
Yep.
To bring it to Lego. Uh,
Right.
so you find, oh man, I did not know this about you because I am so glad you brought that up because I'm in that boat too. Because
Mhm.
we've talked about how, I find it very chill and therapeutic and calming. And so
Right.
I'm almost directly in, like, it doesn't, like, all the other redemptions, right? Like that doesn't quite fit with the stuff that I do.
Right.
And
Mhm.
it's certainly one of those moments. And people I've said this to people on stream, is just like you. It's like I'm trying to find my place. I'm trying to
Mhm.
find my stride with that.
Mhm.
And, but I'm trying to continue to be me and do the things that I enjoy, and I don't want to
Right.
force it. And
Mhm.
so I guess when you're kind of in that place as well, like what thoughts have crossed your mind in terms of like how to deal with that, or how to go forward knowing that about you and your content.
I mean, it's taken some time and, I have sort of evolved things a little bit. Like I have a few little things here and there and some jokey things and whatever that, that I've added in, but I've always kind of like stood firm on the fact that like this is still what I want for my stream, is to be that like we're here for the build. Like that's what it is. We can chat, we do the things, but I just want to like sit and have this and not have ping 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 ping, and I'll be there in your stream for the ping ping ping. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
but that's just what I want. And it's taken time to like be more okay with that and be more comfortable with the fact that maybe the viewers that want all the ping 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 aren't gonna frequent my stream, and that's okay too.
yeah,
um but obviously a lot of that just has to do with being confident in the thing that you're doing on your stream, and knowing that you're sticking to what you want for your own thing, and not necessarily conforming because you think it's gonna get more viewers or bring in more revenue, or whatever you want to
right,
say. Because at the end of the day, like, you still have to be true to you and what you want for your content.
yeah. That's well said. And I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Um I have had the same thoughts, and I've arrived at the same place too, where I'm like, well, I wouldn't want to go to someone's channel where, they're clearly not doing something that feels like, it's truly what they're about, right? And so if you're not about, all the redemptions yourself, like I'm actually even 100% with you. Like when it comes to my stream, not a whole lot going on in regards to that. But if I'm like in Zach's stream, or Ace's stream, I'm like,
Yeah.
pushing all the buttons, or I'm cheering all the bits, and I'm doing it.
Don't-
Yeah, I'm
Going into
doing
Ace's stream and doing a whole bunch of maples.
yeah, spamming.
Chandelier routine.
Yeah, no, I love it in other people's stream, but when I'm the one in front of the camera, I yeah, I feel the same way, right? And
Mhm.
it's really trying to stay true to who you are, what makes you you. And like you said, yeah, if people who are into that chaos aren't necessarily frequenting your channel as often, it's that's okay, right? Because
Mhm.
that's not the kind of channel you are. But then, on the flip side of that, you're getting all the people that really do want that chill space
Mhm.
where you want to relax, you want to check out the Lego, and tell some stories or have some jokes, but like there's not a lot of stuff going on with like redemptions or bits and things like that. So I think
Mhm.
it's super valuable. And then we're getting a lot of we're getting a lot of that in chat too, where it's very well said. Stay true to yourself, says Dan, and that's definitely what uh what I think is best for anyone doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
With having found your stride and feeling more confident in what you do, like 3 years later, what continues to keep you motivated to hit that start streaming button once you kind of get past that general anxiety? What motivates and inspires you to keep doing this?
Honestly, it's the community. It's wanting to like keep everything going and, keeping up and being part of it, really.
Mm,
Like,
right.
like not wanting to like fall behind and, not be part of all the things anymore, because it's a really exciting time for everybody as a group. Like, I know we're all really like pushing towards trying to get our own category on Twitch, and like I want to be part of it. I want to be right there when when all these exciting milestones happen for everybody in the community. So, I mean, really more than anything, that's what keeps me going and makes me want to, you know, up my game always.
Right. You want to be there. You want to be the one spamming
FOMO.
FOMO. You're like, I just won't be there. FOMO. That's my main driver. You still want to be there spamming Maple Creature's song in Ace's channel.
Absolutely.
With if it wasn't you, it was gonna be me who was doing that anyway during that stream. I'm just
right.
Let's be honest. It was gonna be someone. So
yeah.
With you touched on the brick building community trying to get their own category, or you're seeing all these approaching milestones that seem very clear for a lot of streamers within the community. What do you picture, I guess, for Lego streamers or this corner of Twitch for brick builders? Like what do you hope to see in the coming years?
Honestly, I hope that it gets big enough that it's more mainstream. Like, even if we don't get our own category, like just having something that's a known entity, even if it's just like, hey, there's like cooking on Twitch, or, crocheting or whatever, like just to have people know that, like, hey, if you're an AFL or a TFL and want to find content that's live, like you can go to Twitch and you know how to get there and see all the people that are on there, doing amazing things all the time. And, even at this point, it's almost around the clock that there's someone on. There's almost never a time that, you go to Twitch and there's not a brick builder. But, obviously I would love to see that grow and just expand into, there's always, there's someone on, and there's just a bigger, greater family of people.
Yeah. It's definitely heading that way, I think. I think that seeing so many people grow these, like, their channels at the rate that they're growing, and seeing like this incredible amount of people, like you said, live, right? Like it's really easy to find people in the brick building tag now, which even when you compare it to, even I would say, I started in the category like almost 9 months ago. I feel like even now, like compared to then, it's really easy to find people.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Do you have any thoughts for people? This probably parallels your advice for people with new streams, but what would you say to someone who wants to get involved in the Lego or brick building community on Twitch?
just do it. It's easy. Like, even
Yeah.
if you don't want to stream, like even if you just want to be a viewer, like even just realizing this year, because I decided I was going to go to Brick World Chicago
Yeah.
this summer, like how many of us are like meeting up and trying to do these like IRL things. Just get involved in it. Like, I've yet to find anybody that's like not worth getting involved in this community.
Right.
Seriously. Just do it, get involved, like just have the chats, even if you just want to like lurk and hang out and like, you know, just watch somebody put some bricks together, and you want to, you know, sit at work and like, you know, you're putting together your stuff at the same time, you know, just like having that on. I don't know, just get in it, just do it. It's not hard. And, you know, it's honestly a way better environment than a lot of other places on the internet.
You're like, Lego community could be worse.
Yeah, right. It could be way worse. You want to be part of the Lego community.
Make your dreams come true. That's.
Have you ever had a dream?
Have you ever had a dream? Yeah. You beat me to it. I was trying to find a place where I could like be completely serious and be like, April, have you ever had a dream? Which, for those that are in the know, that's a whole meme. It's a whole thing here on the Twitch brick building community. Yeah. So, what? I guess in the short term, what's coming next for you in your community and with your channel? What are you hoping to achieve or get to next?
Well, I'm kind of like at this weird point. This has been a really crazy year for me, and I've had a lot of like IRL life changes, and I made the decision just recently actually to go to full-time streaming for a while. Which is kind of big scary, because I went from like, oh, you know, a few hours, a few days a week to like, I'm gonna like dive into this for a little while, until I can, you know, until I start working full time and all that. So definitely we're doing the full-time streaming thing. I'm gonna I've got some updates and like layout updates and things that are exciting coming up, and
yeah,
I'm trying to work on maybe some charity things coming up, but we can't really talk about that right now.
Yeah, no worries, man. You've made my day. I did not know about this, and I don't know
really
how. I mean, I think I heard something. I don't know, but that said, with full time, what's the timeline on that with the full time streaming?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe through the summer at least.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is just really kind of like fluid right now. It's kind of nice, but also really scary.
Yeah. I'm man, you just gave me so much more to ask about, because
oh no.
You're like, no. You're like, I didn't mean it. What hold on. I'm thinking words.
Okay.
They're
hard sometimes.
With full time, I guess with full time, what was the final thing that made you decide that this was the way to go?
I guess part of it was like realizing that the things in my life were changing, and that I may not always be in a position to do this. Mm-hmm. So if it was something that I wanted to do, I needed to just pull the trigger and do it, and not wait and then regret the fact that I didn't ever try. You know, obviously I don't expect it to be like the same as having a 40-hour week job, you know, mm-hmm. and have that kind of income stream, but like I've said from the beginning, like content creation is something I'm really passionate about, and I pour a lot of my heart into, and I just felt like that was the decision that I needed to make so that I didn't look back, a couple years from now and go, that was my shot to do this, and I chickened out and, did something else. Like, I need to do this.
It was time.
Mm-hmm.
It was time to do it, or else you would never feel like you took the time and advantage of the time that you had to be able to do it.
Right.
That's exciting.
Right?
I'm sure you.
But see, this is what I was talking about before, like with being more confident and stuff too. Like 3 years ago, me would have never made that jump ever. I would have been like full-time streaming. I can't do that. That's not, that's way too much. I can't deal with that mentally. But now it's like, we're doing it and it's happening. And I put out the schedule. I'm like, this is it.
That's incredible. I'm sure that's not the first time you've said this out loud, but how does it feel to verbalize that and say that out loud here and say, like, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do.
It's really freeing. It's really just like, it's so, I don't know. It makes me excited.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, I've written it out. I've like put it on my Discord and whatever, but it's true. That's like the first time that I've actually like been like, this is the reality.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give us a second to process it.
Right.
That is incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing what full-time AprilB looks like in terms of content creation, because I think that, it's certainly when any content creator goes full-time, there's a lot that comes with it, right? And there's a lot that happens. So I'll be cheering you on from the sidelines and be throwing bits at you. I don't know. Trying to get like those redeems.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Was there anything you wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on yet?
I mean, not that I can think of necessarily. This was just supposed to be like the brick building community love fest episode. Like, that's
I mean, it still is, right? It still is. Who would you like to go through this show next? Like, or what, like, now that you've been pretty much through it, that you've been in the hot seat, which I wouldn't even consider the hot seat. Some people say it is, but I don't. Who would you like to see? And then before I have you answer that, because this is the time to say it, so you don't have to re-answer it. Maple Creature will be on next week.
Okay.
So outside of Maple Creature and all the others you've seen on here, who would you like to see experience this?
Lone Gopher, absolutely. I talk to him like almost daily now, and his Lego story is incredible. How he's like grown over the last basically year into like having the collection that he has, and even just his streaming history, like, Lone. Like,
yeah, it's a great story.
Just, right?
Yeah. Lone would be great. Yeah,
definitely Lone.
He is on my list. He's on my list. This is how he's gonna find out, maybe. I don't know. Just hearing me say that.
Calling you out, Lone. It's your turn.
Calling you out, Lone. Get on here. Boba Laveau in chat says, and his inability to pass on buying Lego.
Truth.
Man, it has been a ride. I know that we went on our love fest about the Lego community, to finding out about your story as well as what's next for you. right here on Twitch. Uh, do you have any further? I know we already kind of asked this in a way, but any parting words for those that are listening, either now or later?
I don't know. Just thanks everybody for making this community what it is, this family what it is, because it like I can't ever thank everybody else enough for what you all have done for me in my life. So keep being awesome, everybody.
Keep being awesome, everyone. Well, I'd like to take this time to thank you for your time, April, and spending it here with me to talk about Twitch and the Lego community and what you're up to next. And, I wish you the best of luck. And again, you know, indirectly, thank you for bringing me and roping me into this community as well, because it's been some of the best times I've had on Twitch. So thank you so much. Man, I don't know how to say it any other way. So thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you for having me on here and like having this chat with me. It's been great.